Aha, that'll be why my voice was not as loud as yours last time.
Welcome back to the Master and the Noob.
Oh, nice. I was going to make you do the intro this time
I
if
was
you
gonna
didn't do it
anyway.
yourself. I wanted you to do like a YouTube one though.
No.
Please, just do like, hey guys, what's going on? It's your girl. Go on.
Absolutely no.
Just come on,
Absolutely
do it.
not.
It's part of your apprenticeship.
No.
I'm not teaching you anything else about tattoos unless you do it. Do it. Go on.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the Master and the Noob.
Bam. Nice.
go.
That was good. That like you went pink. You look the
Yeah.
same colour as your book. Nice. Okay, welcome back. We've got an excellent episode for you today. I don't know what it's going to be about. I just like to say that.
Would you like to pick a topic?
No, I want to talk about this. I should have loaded this in first. The YouTube people, because I did get some messages about the last episode, before the last episode, that I didn't read, and I would love to. However, of course, I've not prepared. What do you want to talk about? Like, oh, we've now got over 139 subscribers.
Nice.
It's 141 actually. I wanted to make that thing with it being 140, but if I say over 140, it sounds like 148 or something.
So how many of 140?
141.
One.
141 absolute fucking legends. Okay, so first of all, still smoking on YouTube. Give me that purple stuff, please. Love Diz. I'm assuming that's Diz Roulette. He's fast becoming our number 2 podcast listener. Like I think.
Already still smoking?
I don't know. He says Love Diz X on there, so I'm assuming that is him, but it might not be.
Is he not saying like love Diz? I love this.
Love Diz. I don't know.
Diz.
Maybe if it's not that, just send us your like address and I'll send that purple stuff to you. Someone called That Mattered said Rant Sanderton on one of them.
I saw that one. It's
And
true.
someone said I was saying "dew" on one of the episodes. Didn't say "dew" like. Oh, I think this was it. We were talking about no-shows and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Someone, Black Kraken Tattoo, because we were talking about like no-shows and like people not ringing up and then like tattooers slagging them off on Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
So this guy, it's quite a long thing. I'll just read it for you. I remember the worst time I slagged someone off for no-showing. It was early in my career, and this was during that time when appointments weren't really the norm in what was a walk-in shop. They no-showed. I was pissed as it was a full-day booking. Ranted on Facebook and to my work colleagues at the time. They ended up walking into the tattoo studio around a year later to apologise and explain that they'd been in a really bad car accident on the way to our appointment. My client had been in a coma for nearly 8 months and had to learn to walk again and had no feeling in her right arm. My heart fell through my entire body and I apologised, feeling like pure shit. They were good enough to laugh about it and understood why I had to go. I ended up tattooing a dead arm and we ended up having a good day. Now I just say I've got space to try not to rant if a client no-shows, as you never know what's going on with them.
That's exactly what you said, wasn't it?
Exactly. Isn't it? Pretty extreme, that one, like. So you never know, right? Don't whinge about your clients not showing up because they might be in a coma. They might be their soul might be floating around in your room now getting offended at you.
That's how you get haunted, isn't it?
That's how you get yourself haunted, like, for sure, yeah. And on a different episode, The what day before a tattoo one. You know when I read about that guy saying about falling asleep on the radiator, and I was reading it as he was writing it. I wrote 3 out of 4 hours. JJ said, I think he means 3/4 of an hour. And I was like, I know that.
That's
I was
the
doing
joke.
a joke. I was pretending to be thick because it's funny. And I am. What else? I thought there was another good thing. William Sampson said, ooh, I've been waiting for this when I uploaded one of them. That was a Should You Pop a Tit episode. Someone, Craig Pickering, said hi from New Zealand. Carl commented, was it the tattoo shop near Q Club? About the one where that last word. Yeah, it was. And then Evie said, I've still got Lee's mug. He taught me how to draw penises. But I don't know who you mean by Lee. Is that what the guy was called in that shop? Or is that what Lee from Catterick, who I worked with for some reason? But I didn't mention Lee from Catterick, did I? Because that's who, when I first started tattooing, I went to work at Catterick. I'd been like... So I went to get a tattoo. I had this bad tattoo at that place that we were just on about. And then I went to... I thought that thing I said, like, this guy's crap. And that's a shop.
Yeah.
Then... When I got out the army, I went to like Catterick because I'd had a good tattoo there, because this is like a good thing. The attitude that you have when people come. So I'd been to Catterick while I was in the army at Catterick, and I went into this shop and I wanted like just a tattoo, didn't know what I wanted, and there was an alien with smoking a spliff sat on a rock. And I'm just like, that's mint. I want that. How much is that? And I didn't smoke weed. I had no intention of smoking weed at all, ever, honestly, at that time. But I wanted this alien, and he was doing it. And I remember him calling this lass over, Tracy Wilson. She's got a studio in Gisborne now. Like, I've spoke to her like loads since at conventions. But they worked together at the time, and he was her apprentice, I think. And he's like, oh, I'm going to do this blend here from purple to blue in the eyes and stuff. And he was like buzzing about this tattoo that he was doing. Even though it was just a flash design, he was like well buzzing about it.
Yeah.
And when I'd left the army, after having them bad ones done, I was like, I want another tattoo, but I want it good. So I want to go back to that guy, even though it was a fair distance away from me. I was like, I'm going to travel to that guy to get a good one, because I know that he cared.
Yeah.
And I went down there, and loads of things had changed. Like, the guy who owned the studio had died, Tracy had moved on, and it was kind of just left to him by himself then.
All right.
So I was going down there, I got a tattoo. I took my girlfriend at the time down, she got tattooed. I took one of my friends who wanted a tattoo down there, and I was like talking to him like every time. And I knew he liked to drink on the Friday, and he also liked the McDonald's, so I'd sometimes just randomly, after I finished work, go and call in with like a McDonald's or whatever, and then I'd sit and talk, then go for a drink on, you know, there was a few people would go, like just to like the bar, only on the afternoon, it wasn't like a nighttime drink thing. And got like mates, and then at some point I was like getting more and more buzzing about this idea, and I'm like, I want to go tattooing. And I was working at Caterpillar at the time, and my friend Steve, who I worked with, he's like, if you start tattooing, I'll let you tattoo me arse. And I think he was joking mostly, but I was like, yeah, okay. I'm like taking it as if like, I will. I'm not arsed. I'm not bothered about tattooing an arse. Easy. As I proved. But yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll have a go at that. So I did buy a kit, like out of the yellow paper, it was called Ads Trade. Have you seen that? It's before your time.
What, the yellow pages?
Yellow paper, it was called. Oh. It wasn't called the yellow paper, it just was yellow. It was like a newspaper thing, but just for adverts. It was like Gumtree of papers. This is before the internet, though. I don't think it was before the internet, but
I've only been alive for 2 years before the internet was made, so.
Yeah, I bought a tattoo kit out of there, and I started tattooing. And I remember I went down to Catterick on one of the days, and it's like we're talking and that we're out for this like drink, and I'm like, I've bought a tattoo kit. He's like, what? He's like, no way. He's like, you're gonna just rip people's skin up. And I'm like, oh, I love it though. I love it. I can't get enough of it. I'm addicted to it. And he's like, no way. He's like, show me what you've done. So I showed him this star on my leg, and he's like, that's your first one? I was like, yeah. He's like, huh. That's interesting. And then like literally a month later, he offered us a job in his shop. It's like he had an apprentice at the time, but he was like quite busy as well, like the apprentice. He was like a full-time job and family and stuff, you know, so he wasn't like hammering it as much as I wanted to.
Yeah.
So he had Saturdays, and he's like, when he offered us the job, he's like, I can't give you like Saturdays because that's other Lee's day. So I'm like, well, I can come on Fridays, like Friday afternoons, because I was working at the time I was working full time plus 5 hours overtime or 4 hours overtime every night at Caterpillar. So I was doing like a four days of like 12-hour shifts. Then on the Friday I was doing like a 4-hour shift because I got a half day. Then I was driving to Catterick and doing like a full shift there.
God.
Then on the Saturday was Lee's day, so I sometimes went in for overtime on a Saturday and did a full day. And the Sunday, I would go down to Catterick and tattoo again for a full day.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually, like, Lee was sometimes not turning up or he was busy or whatever, so I got the Saturdays as well.
Right.
So then I was doing 12-hour shifts all week and then going and tattooing all weekend. So, you know, when people reckon they don't have time for stuff, you mean you don't want to do it enough, is the thing. Because you definitely have time. And I get it now. Like, I'm like, there's some things I want to do, but I can't be bothered. But I'm not going to say I don't have time, because I definitely have time. I just spend it doing Minecraft things instead or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Or like, I don't really watch the telly, but I'm assuming like that's what people are doing.
Oh,
when they reckon they don't have time.
It's
They don't
telly.
have time, but spend 6 hours on their phone every night or whatever. But yeah, like I worked there I was doing it from home for like maybe 3 weeks. Then he rang us up one day. I've got a proposition for you. I'm like, okay. And that was that.
So were you the apprentice there?
No, not really. Like he got me in as a full-time artist, kind of like when I.
It's so
when
typical that
happened.
you would never an apprentice.
I know.
You were never a noob.
It's just how my life goes, bro. I just love it more than everyone else. I don't know if I love it more than everyone now, but at that time, I think I could argue that I loved it more than most people I'd met, like most tattooists I'd met.
Yeah.
They were all like a little bit more jaded, and I was just like, yes. Someone's like, oh, I want this tattoo. Yeah, I'll do it, definitely. Like anything, I was like in for anything. Even though sometimes I would be scared that I couldn't do the thing right, I'd still just do it anyway, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to do it. Like, it didn't matter what it was, I just wanted to do it just so hard. I think I was definitely a bit autistic.
Oh, 100%. I think it puts a lot of confidence in the clients as well if you're really into it.
Yeah. Well, he was telling us I should tell the clients that I've been tattooing for like 2 years or something, when I was literally like a month in or something like that.
Really?
Like, so how long have you been doing this for? And I'm like, I didn't like the idea of lying to them, so I just started telling the truth but laughing after it.
Yeah.
And then they'd go like, I'd be like, oh, a month. And they'd be like, ha 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 ha. Yeah. Like, assuming I'm joking, and I'm like, tee. The joke is that I'm not joking. But then they'd be buzzing with what I did.
Mm.
So, yeah.
Well, it's because like you wanted to do it. It accelerated your skill.
I think that makes the biggest difference in like getting good at something. Like, the more you love it, the easier it is. Because I've noticed that people say, like with anything, if you want to get good at painting, for instance, you'll ask some professional painter, like, how do you get good at painting? And they'll say the same thing often. Like, most people with any trade say the same thing. You've just got to practice loads.
Yeah.
It's like practice for 6 hours a day or something like that. And then you're brand new as this noob. You're thinking like, oh, wow, what? 6 hours a day? Or the guitar, even people say the same thing. You've got to practice like this much. And it's because that's what they did. But the difference is, when they say it like that, it sounds like you've got to put this work in. It's like, you know, when you're bored, like 20 minutes in, or on a guitar, for instance, like you played the other day, it's like after 10 minutes, you're like, right, that's disheartening now because I can't do anything.
Yeah, yeah.
They're telling you still to like put another like 5.5 hours in or something, but you're not going to on that day.
Yeah.
Because you're not into it. And they didn't do that, but they're saying it as if they did. So,
Because you can practice too much and you can just
You can kill it.
hate it.
Yeah.
Like you just learn to hate it.
So it's kind of a weird like paradox, I guess, with it. So the practicing for 6 hours a day or whatever it is, like, yeah, that is part of the getting good at the thing. But it's not forcing yourself. That's the difference.
Yeah.
They didn't force themselves to practice for 6 hours a day. They loved it and wanted to.
Yeah.
That's it.
It doesn't. They probably didn't sit down and go like, "Oh, I want to practice 6 hours." They just loved it so much. It just ended up being 6 hours.
That's what I mean, yeah. Like, they did it automatically. It didn't feel like work. It didn't feel like they were
Yeah.
pushing themselves. But they'll tell you that you've got to do that because they've got, like, this separation from their beginning and where they are now and where you are. Like, they're telling you to do what they do now. And it's easy to practice 6 hours a day if you're good at the thing because it's mint the whole time. But if you're shit at it, it's like you can only do, like, I don't know, like, so trying to practice the unicycle for 6 hours a day would be horrible.
Oh yeah.
You just end up breaking your back or something and having wobbly legs all week.
It's probably like 10 to 20 minutes a day if you're brand new to something, I imagine.
Like, honestly, I think just do it until you're bored.
Yeah.
Like, do it whenever you want until you're bored. Like, like the piano, like, I'm getting all right at it now, but because when I have a break or if I'm bored, I go and play that. And then it's like, I find myself walking away from it, then sometimes walking straight back and be like, no, I want another go, because it's like, I want to. So it's starting to get more and more practice every day because it's fun.
Yeah.
But when it wasn't fun, I'm not going to like force myself. It's like, all right, okay, here we go, twinkle, twinkle. It's like, this is shit, I hate it. 6 hours of twinkle, twinkle, little star every day. You're like, you're going to hate it so much. And you'll be like, right, piano's shit. But when you start like enjoying it because you actually can do it, it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the same with unicycles because I can ride one, bro. Can you ride a unicycle?
No, I don't want to.
You mean not yet? You don't want to? Do you think you've got a choice, man, when you're doing an apprenticeship with this cunt?
I don't want to like smash teeth in that.
Well, no choice.
But what if I don't love it?
What if you don't love it?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to contradict myself. I'll love it. So you've got to. This is part of the funny thing with I think an apprentice mentor kind of teacher situation, right? I'm like, I don't have to do this. This is, I think I've had this problem before with people where they think like I'm doing it like, or I'm taking the piss, or I'm not doing it right, or whatever like that. And it's like, this is not my job, you know. I chose to teach you, by the way, and you're making it not fun, so I don't want to. It's like, you're like, as if I'm like employed by the state to teach you how to tattoo or whatever. I'm not. It's like, this is a hobby for me. It's
and
like,
you're my guinea pig.
Yeah, you're my guinea pig. And it's like, so it's got to be fun for me. So if you take it all too seriously and you're like getting all like whingy about it, or you take offense when I make a joke, it's like, I'm going to be like, I'm bored of this project now. What's over here? And they're like, I'm putting my whole life on the line for you, or whatever. Or, not the life on the line, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
It's like, well, do unicycle stuff then.
Get on the unicycle.
Yeah, get on the unicycle, noob. Because like the thing is, right, when I've done this kind of stuff, because like I told you before, I've made Michelle like learn where pinched harmonics were in Killswitch Engage songs when she's not even into that music. But when she does it, I'm like, haha, sweet. Right, do this thing on this one. I'm inspired to do the actual thing that we're supposed to be doing. So if I make you do that intro there and you actually do it, I'm like, sweet. And also, it's kind of like training a dog a bit, in it. You know what I mean?
What type of dog am I?
What are you? What kind of dog are you?
Oh.
I reckon you're like a Labrador.
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think I'd go off Labrador vibes.
What kind of dog am I?
Jack Russell.
Jack Russell. I don't know if I'm like that.
I don't know. I don't know enough dogs, I think.
Yeah.
I only know big dogs because big dogs are the best and small dogs are crap.
Shit, what have you got again? Three
German shepherds.
Or
Alsatians, or whatever you want
What's
to call
the
them.
difference? Is there no difference?
It's like I think people say Alsatian because it sounds fancy.
I heard that people call them Alsatians as like an advertising thing when people hated Germans after the war.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's like that, right? Because it's kind of like the more I get you to do a thing, an arbitrary thing that's nothing to do with tattooing, the more likely you are to do the thing when I say, like, move that line over or hold the machine this way. Because it's like you get used to following the orders.
Yeah.
It's like a legit technique. I'm not trying to do that on purpose, but it does work like that.
I think your favourite thing you made us do was go and try and catch an injured pigeon outside. I couldn't.
Oh, was it over the road?
Yeah, I got shot off the top of the roof.
Oh, yeah,
and
I remember that.
You told us to go and get it, and I couldn't. And we pincer movement it, and you got it.
Yeah. And we fed it to the ferrets, because ferrets need to eat too, bro. They loved it.
Yeah.
They legit loved that. I was once coming through Dalton Dale down there, and there was just a pigeon sat in the middle of the road. I'm like, what is up with that thing? So I like stopped the car and I got out, and it's just like, I'm like, you've been catted, haven't you? So I'm like, I walked around after it a little bit. It was like only walking, it wasn't flying off. And I'm like, right, okay, caught it. And I'm like, yeah, massive hole in its front there.
Oh, God.
So I was just like, finished it off quick. Took it back and I put it in the ferrets. And they're just like, they're going like, and they're like looking at me like, this is great. This is amazing. I'm like, yeah, there you go. I'm helping them like pull feathers off it and that. That was their first actual one.
Oh, right.
They loved it like
I mean,
so much.
It's better than it suffering in the middle of the road until it gets half squashed and it's still alive and that.
I think so.
Yeah.
They love it though. Like proper love it. Like I've had all sorts for them. I've had pheasants, I've had like rabbits, I've had like
rats.
They just love it. Deer. They've even had deer. Because I was on about, like during one of the lockdowns, right? I was hearing some conspiracy theories that they were going to like make meat hard to get hold of because of the vegan agenda or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I remember because the couch was in here. And I remember like one day I'm like, the ferrets were like, I had baby ferrets and there was like 16 of them and they were almost fully grown and they need a lot of food at that point. So I'm like, this is going to start getting really expensive here. And I'm like, I need a windfall of meat here. I'm like, the universe, prove to me that I can get meat for free. Like, so I know that I'm going to be fine even if they do try to be awkward. Prove to me that I can get that. And I sat on the couch, I'm like, then my phone rang. And it was Bygroves. I'm like, hi mate. He's like, I've just seen, I didn't even say anything about this, I just thought it. I've just seen a deer get hit by a car on the A19, like at your junction. If you go up there now, it'll still be there. So I'm like, oh, okay. I straight back up again, got in the car and drove up there. And yeah, it was. The guy's all shaken up and that, and he's got cuts on him and stuff. And I'm like, are you all right, mate? He's like, yeah. I said, my mate's just told us this has happened. I brought you some water and that up. He's like, oh, cheers. I'm like, do you need any like first aid or out like that? He's like, no, the police is coming anyway. I'm like, oh, okay. What's happening with that? And he's like, that? Yeah, he's like, well, I know I can't take it because it's hit my car or whatever. I'm like, 'cause that's the law. Do you know that?
No, I didn't.
If you hit a deer, you're not allowed to take it, but the person behind you's allowed. I guess the point is to stop you using your car as a weapon and hitting deers. Like, how ridiculous would that be, though? Like, you'd have to armour your car. Imagine writing your car every time you wanted off, every time you wanted to
get a shitbox and just drive it into deer sanctuary.
But it ripped his car off completely, right. And it was like a Corsa. Like, it caved the front in and smashed the window.
I've seen as well, like, they get hit by cars and they just fly into the air.
Some of them videos are hilarious, though. I know it's brutal, but, like, when they fly, like... But, yeah, he's like, well, I'm like, yeah, I know you're not supposed to take it, but do you want it, though? He's like, not after it's done that to my car. That's when I think, like, well, we're very different because I'd especially want it after that. I'm like, okay, do you mind if I take it then? He's like, well, the police is coming, so... I'm like, oh, yeah, it probably needs to be there still unless they assume it was a human or something. So I went and parked over the road and waited for the police to come. And then when they left, I just went and it was just chucked at the side. So I'm like, whip. Chucked it in the back of the Merc.
Is that the one? Oh, no, that's not the one I saw you butcher.
No, that's a different one. That was one that Emma told us about. That also went in the Merc. Good car for like for catching roadkill is that C63 Mercs. I think the guy that bought it, right? So I bought it for, what was it now? 25 grand. I think the finance was for. So it ends up being like 32 if you pay the whole thing off. I had it for, I don't know, a couple of years, was it? I probably paid about 6 altogether. I sold it back to the person I bought it off for like 19 grand. And he's like, oh, I'm going to keep it now because I wanted it, I was a bit good at I sold it. My kid was good at I sold it and that. Because he's a car dealer and therefore a liar because they always lie. I don't think they can tell the truth, honestly. He's like, oh, I'm going to keep it now. Sold it for 27 grand the same week. Like, what?
God.
And then because I left my number plate on it because my number plate was MC63THX. MC, thanks, motherfucker. Because before it was a 63 plate, which I thought you should get on a C63.
Yeah.
And I thought I'll leave it on because it's got the C63 in the number plate, even though that's kind of not what I was trying to do. And I left that because he was keeping it. Because I believed him.
I believed
the car dealer. What the fuck? Yeah. When they're obviously all crooks. So when the guy who bought it, like he found out it was mine in his messages on Facebook and that, so I've started sending him videos of me like collecting roadkill in it. Here's another video of your car back when it was mine, mate. As I've proven repeatedly, you know what C63s are good for, don't you? Collecting deers. And I'm just like pulling up the road. It's like, oh, there's a pheasant. And I like lean out the door, whip. Chuck it in the footwell or whatever.
Oh, God.
What? What's that? Is that Roadkill right there? Sweet! Nice! I'll have that, please. Thank you.
Took us a while to clean it, like, before I got rid of it. I spent like 2 days on Dan's drive, like, cleaning it.
This is like not a tattoo podcast, really. Is
Yes, let's talk about a tattoo thing, right? Needles and that. You know, you got needles, you got to put ink on them, stab them in people and stuff. Did we have some good subjects?
What does that say? Radiator thins.
Radiator thing. I've already talked about that. That was that
But
guy
what was
leaning
it?
on the radiator.
What's age tattoos mammoth?
That was your mum's moth.
Oh, yes.
So she said, mum has a moth. So I wrote it in the book as mammoth.
Mammoth. And there's a little cute mammoth drawn there.
So what does it say? Age tattoos mammoth.
Yeah.
What was the crack? Oh, so she's got a tattoo done by someone that needs, like, redoing.
Yeah, like this is it fresh. And this is it now. And
Did that just become a unsolicited critique because it's from someone who's close?
we'll not say who it is. And you know, it's like blobby.
Right.
And, like what could be? Oh, I'll get it up so we know what we're talking about. What could be done?
But what were we talking about that? Are we talking about like going over these kind of tattoos?
My mum wants us to go touch it up and also like do stuff around it. Like that bit's dropped out there and stuff. And like
right, yeah, because we were like, okay, we're doing an unsolicited critique on this. It's like, sorry. If it's you that did the tattoo and you're actually watching, sorry. I know you know about this stuff already though. So, welcome to Unsolicited Critiques with Thanks and Guess. Okay. Yes, that bit down there. You can see on the fresh one that was going to go like that though, can't you? Because it looks a little bit red. What is the problem with this one? I think it may be like the speed the lines are getting done at, potentially. But you can see them ones, or maybe the depth, because them little skinny lines in them bits on the top of the wing, when they're old, they go like almost black, don't they, them? And that's because it's done with like a thinner liner, but I think it's went in too far. Or it's pushing too much ink in. Or potentially, some people do lines with shaders, right?
okay.
And you know, I was on about like the shape of the needles being like that or whatever. Sometimes when you use a shader, it might look like a mint line when you first done it, but they're designed to have it spread a little bit under the skin. So it's like, it might look cool. Well, I do like my lines with a shader because it's like I'm fancy and all that, but like then it heals and it's blown out and it's spread underneath the skin. And it's
Does
like,
it do that to make the blends?
it's done what it's supposed to do, and it's like not designed for lines kind of thing.
Right. Is it for blending colours?
I'm on about like round shaders because they look so similar to like a liner,
Yeah.
but
Also, okay.
they're pushing more ink in than a liner would.
Yeah, right.
That's why I'm on about like, say, a liner has got like a thin like profile on the needle's point, so it's all like excuse me, and it's like just going in between the skin, where the other one's like going and to push and get loads of ink in with it kind of thing is the idea. It's a lot subtler than that on a smaller scale, but it could be the wrong needles. It could be also like the machine running too high, or it could be
what did you say? The speed of how fast they're doing the lines? Is it slow or fast?
I would guess slow to have it do this thing where it's like, you know, that lines are opening up as it's going in. It could be like a mixture of them needles mixed with this.
Yeah.
But you're on about, the point was, can you make it look like that again? And
No.
you can't.
But like I'd say, because in my head straight away it was like go over the wings to separate them again.
Yeah. So you were thinking do like the outline of just the wings again.
Yeah.
But then I think what happens when you start doing these kind of things is you're going to be like thinking that other bit needs a bit of work, then that other bit needs work, and you end up going over the whole thing.
And it's putting more black in.
But one of the things to consider when you do like this go over thing is that, say the lines were 1 mil when they were first done, and they spread to 2 mil, just for like, let's say. If you go and do them now 2 mil to cover that whole thing, they're going to spread to 3 mil or whatever by the time they healed again. So if you keep doing that, they're going to get bigger and bigger. So it's like, what's the best thing to do with that? And it's like,
yeah, I suppose that also
I'm not sure.
goes into the same category as going over someone else's work as well.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because that's what you did that yesterday.
Yeah, okay, yeah, going over someone else's work. I did a bit. It's like I wouldn't really count that as that. It kind of is, but it's not. So when I like to do tattoos, one of the things I like the challenge of is having it like my tattoo look good amongst the ones that are next to it. Where some people, like I saw a guy, he wanted me to tattoo his back at London Convention, and I turned it down because I didn't think it was going to look good. Like even if my tattoo would have been cool, he's like trying loads of different things to get us to say yes to it, but it's like he's got essentially like this fridge with stickers on as a back, and it's like he's got this one that's got purples and greens in, then this one next to it's got like blue and grey or something, then this one next to it's got like it's black and grey, then this is like a really red piece or something like that, and it's all the colours. When you look at it, it just looks a mess. So he wants me to do this awesome piece on there, but then you zoom out and it just looks crap. So one thing I kind of like doing is blending my bit with the stuff around it.
Yeah.
Because I've seen people just do like, they do their tattoo for their Instagram, and it's just this one little like square or whatever they've done. And it looks cool on the photo when you crop it like this or blur the other pieces out. But on the person's body, which is where it is forever, it looks like shit because you've not like considered what else is there. It's like you can change your colours to match the other colours. You don't have to do it blue and green just because you drew it blue and green. If they've got like a peachy kind of yellow theme going on in the whole leg, like why are you going to put this horrible thing next to that? Even if it's not horrible, I mean it like it clashes and it looks weird.
Yeah.
So I like to consider what's there. So if I'm going to do something that I wasn't planning on doing outlines, but their stuff's got outlines on, I'm going to add some to mine because it'll look better. Or this is the thing that I'll enjoy the most is when people haven't considered that, and then I'm in the middle. So it's like they've got this piece which is like old school or new school or something with outlines on, and there's a realistic piece down here, and I'm going in the middle. So what I like to do then is maybe add some outlines around some edge of it and blend them through, and have elements of that tattoo and elements of that tattoo in mine. So it looks like it was designed like that from the beginning. And it's way better on the person's skin. And it makes your tattoo a little bit more interesting on the day. And it might not be like as perfect that one or as perfect that one, but it looks like its own thing anyway. I don't think it makes it look any worse. I'm not going to make it look worse just to do that kind of thing. But I think it's good to consider what's around. So yesterday, when I was doing that one, it's that cat, and it had like some really old tattoo with like some smoke going up it. So I've lined that edge of the smoke again and blended the line off as I come off. So it's kind of like, even if it heals and that line's fresher than the rest of the thing, because I didn't just stop with a blob, I stopped with a fade off. It's going to look like it's part of my piece as a frame to it. And I like to frame my piece with the other things around it because it looks better. But yeah, and I went around the whole line on this other side, and I added a white outline around the black outline here and whatever, just to make it like bring your eye back to this and blend in with the other stuff. And what am I saying with that? So technically, I'm going over other people's lines, and I've had this lesson really early. There was when I worked at Lee's shop, the one in Catterick, I was just on about. There was a girl that he was kind of like seeing. Even though he had a wife and that. And I didn't know this kind of stuff. I was just oblivious to it, honestly. Like, I didn't care about other people's situations and that. But they were really good friends. I knew this. And something had happened, and I didn't know the thing had happened. So she asked me to finish some tattoos off that he'd started.
Right.
And he'd been, like, pulling away from tattooing a little bit. Like, and I don't know what he was doing, but she asked me to do this tattoo. So I'm like, yeah, cool. And I did it. Just assuming, like, it's... Like, I know he started it, and I was like, cool. Or I was doing a different tattoo, that was it. I was doing a different tattoo on it, and she asked me to touch up some of his lines at the same time. So I was just like, yeah, cool, why not? Like, it saves him a job, right? Is what I was thinking. But he took offence at that. And I'm like, really? Why? Like, as if someone touched up my lines, I'd be like, sweet.
Right.
Like, my ego's not that bothered. Like, it's like, cool. Save me a job of having to set up just to do, like, 2 little tiny lines on this bit or whatever. But he took offence at that. He said, that's my art that you're doing there. You're going over my art. And I think it was more about, that's my girl, than my art. I think he was more offended about me tattooing it at all.
Yeah.
And didn't want to say that, so he picked the fact that went over his thing. But it's my art. And in hindsight, it was Cherry Creek Flash, so it's probably Tracy Wilson's art. Not yours. I don't know if Tracy did them ones. What was her ones? I forgot now. They weren't the Cherry Creek ones, but I think that was. So I don't think I'm going over your art realistically. But I've had it other times since. And I had it once. There was a girl who Bez had started a tattoo on. And she came to me because she was Sam's friend, my girlfriend at the time. I've had a lot of girlfriend at the times, haven't I? But anyway, yeah, she was one of Sam's friends. And she asked me if I'd like finish this tattoo off and stuff. And I was like, yeah, mint. That'd be cool. Because it was a cool piece. And it was his art. It's something that he's drew. And I'm just like, yeah, like I'll do it. Like she, as the customer, is asking me if I will do it. And I'm assuming it's like, it's your body. You're allowed to go to whoever you want, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, cool. I was excited to work on something good that was like his because I was a fan of his. And I still am. But he took offense at that. And I was like, what? And I didn't understand it. And I'm like, so I put it out on Facebook, right? Like, what do you do in this situation, people? I asked, like, tattooists, help me out here. If someone comes in and asks you to finish another artist's work, like, do you do it or not? And it was very mixed. Some people are like, no, never. I would never do that. It's an insult to the other artist and stuff like this. And then some people are like, well, mate, it's your shop. It's your bills. And it's their body. So, like, even some of his close mates was telling me, like, yeah, do it. Like, I would do it. So I'm like, right. Then he wrote on it, ask the artist, you idiot. And my dad took offense at that and will never forgive him for that. He called me an idiot. But I was just like, oh, yeah. I never thought of that option. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, okay. So I drove around there and I'm like, what's the crack then with it? And he was fine. I think he respected that, like, I didn't take offense. And I went and, like, talked to him about it. And he told me, like, some stories about different times this has happened. There was one guy was asking people to finish tattoos that he'd started. And the situation was, he'd booked in and he hadn't took a deposit. And then the lad didn't turn up. Then he booked in again and he still hadn't took a deposit because he thought they were mates because he'd started this like big piece on him and he didn't turn up again. Then the third or fourth time this happened. And then eventually he's just thought like, I'm not booking you in again unless you pay the deposits that you didn't turn up for.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure is quite fair because you didn't ask for them then. To ask for them in hindsight's a bit like...
It should be on you, not the customer.
Probably, if you didn't take it. But like, whatever. Like I can see how that's fair also. What am I saying? So then this guy's asking other people to finish the tattoo because he wants money off him or essentially he owes him money in his mind. But then there is some people who haven't paid and then went to other places and wanting you to finish when they legit owe the artist money like because they just walked out and didn't go and pay. That happens occasionally.
Yeah.
So in that case... it would be better for you to ask the artist, like, what's the crack here? So since then, I've mostly asked the artist, what's the crack? Mm-hmm. Unless I can see some person, like, because at that time I was like, okay, I'm just going to not tattoo anyone's thing. But I've actually came back round to like, no, you know what? It's up to me. I'm not going to do it based on your ego. I'm going to do what I feel like with my client who's asking me. But if there is a situation or something like that, I will ask them. Like most times I'm going to ask the artist, unless I can see that the person's sound or I know them already or whatever. So that would take me back to that lass who asked me to finish it. Now, I would do exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
I would still do exactly what I did and just let the person be offended in this situation. Because it's like, I knew her. I knew she hasn't ripped him off. I knew it's not like a unfair thing or whatever. Well, I don't know if I did know that at the time, honestly. But
plus there's the aspect of like, the other artist might have been a creep or something. Sometimes
that is it. Like there was one where that was the situation. Like I rang the lass up and said like this guy wants to come and get I'm not going to say names here, but he wants to come and get this tattoo finished off me. Like, are you okay with it? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, what's the deal though? It's not like whatever. She goes, oh, it's just like a personal thing. But like I won't be doing it. Like, so it's like, you can do it, it's fine. And I'm like, oh, okay, sweet. I'm like, definitely they've shagged. And then when he came, I'm like, so what's the crack with this tattoo then? And like, yeah, I was right. So he's having an affair with this tattooist lass. And his wife's took him back for whatever reason. And then now I'm like finishing both their tattoos. And then he had another affair with that tattooist anyway. And it's like, oh God, this guy's a nightmare, isn't he?
It seems common though.
Yeah, people, they love a good shag, don't they?
In the tattoo industry, it
They
seems
do.
that way.
I think it's honestly, I bet it's every industry. I bet it's the stamp collecting industry.
But I mean, it's
Maybe.
not going to be the stamp collecting industry.
It's not, is it? No, let's be honest. It's
That's
not
going
going to
to
be
definitely have the most
Right, so where's-
virgins.
Yeah, what stamp collecting's not doing that. Railway club or whatever,
Yeah.
model railway club.
Just anything
They're probably
model
not
painting, model
anything
filming.
modelling, they're not shagging. not by choice. Like they would
Not by choice.
if they could. They would.
Not by choice. It sounds like they're getting raped.
No, I'm saying they're not shagging and not by choice.
Oh,
Like they want to.
oh,
They would definitely be having like railway affairs and
the
that, but they're just
it'll
like
incels, not vol cells.
yeah. That's involuntary celibate versus voluntary celibate.
Voluntary celibate,
Yeah.
So I think it's. Oh,
you go.
well, I was
So-
just going to say it's probably because you like very close to the other person.
Yeah, it is like a weird thing like that with tattooing, especially.
You're like touching them and that.
Yeah, touching them inappropriately, get yourself sent to the camp.
The hoot camp.
I was trying not to say it.
I'm allowed to say it because I'm not scared of it.
Yeah. Ooh, that is
That's
fighting talk, that like. So, what was the crack though with the touching other people's work? So, I would, in that case, it's your mum. So, it's like, if you take offence at me finishing my mum's tattoo off, you
Yeah.
can just suck us off in it. Suck me tit.
okay. So
But what you would probably do in that situation is you're going to have to go over the whole thing. I would think about the lines. I wonder whether you just try and make them look neater, but I don't know about making them the same thickness as they were.
oh yeah, no.
I'd potentially even change the colour, change the colourway on it to try and like get those shapes back in.
Right.
Like if you went like, say, if you wanted to keep it like red and black and white, making it like opaque greys instead of like shaded greys. So that way you could put like a lighter grey over the bit where the black's like spread under to bring the shape back in.
Okay.
And you could also, with that, you could cut, say if you outlined the outside of it, then if it does spread, it's going to be bigger again slightly. But you could like cut in the line to keep it like a nice thickness again still. So there is things you can do, but it's going to be a few sessions. But it's
Yeah.
on your mum, innit? You can do it whenever you want. Which means you'll never do it because like like being friends or family of a tattooist is the hardest to get tattoos done. And you're also the most likely to cancel or not turn up or whinge and stop halfway through. So it's like, fair enough, innit? You probably don't deserve to get in easily.
I don't think my mum. Oh, I don't know. No, she wouldn't whinge. And
No, I don't think so.
she's tough.
She's too happy and
Hi,
she'd
Mum.
whinge. Hi, Mum. Sophie's mum.
Waving again. I was going to say. I think she might have been allergic to the red in it as well.
In that one, really? Why?
Cause
To be fair, red is one of the colours that people are often allergic to.
that bit looks nasty. That looks like it's
That
scarred.
bit there's around the black though, and that black looked like it was like not in ideal either.
Also, she asked for a moth, and it's kind of like a butterfly.
I'd
Like
say
a-
that's a moth like.
Because moths are like down, aren't they? Like the wings go like in a triangle.
Can they put them like that though?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. But that's what she wanted anyway. That she wanted more of the triangle
Right, okay, yeah.
thing.
Good point.
But and stuff around it as well. She wants.
So the stuff around it though, what you thinking of putting around it? Because it's already quite heavy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So putting stuff around it's not going to make it look more delicate probably. It's just going to make it look bigger.
Yeah. I don't think she minds about that. Well, she wanted mushrooms and stuff, but like as well, it's like a sticker, and how to make it into a scene.
A scene.
Well, not a scene, but like
Yeah, I think if you were going to add mushrooms to that, I would, like what we were just talking about, I'd probably, like, imagine what floor you would have regardless of what you would put on. Have you seen that, did I show you that Reinventing the Tattoo book by Guy Aitchison?
you've showed us before, yeah.
I'll try and find a photo of it if I can't find mine. Is it here? It's in here though somewhere.
I'm pretty sure it's in the front somewhere.
Okay,
yeah.
well that's got a bit at the front about floor, and it's the basic tribal floor, honestly, and it's like, it's quite good. Where he explains it, because that's all like he does like biomech, and that's basically all that is. It's like shadows and color. Shadows and floor, or tones and floor, whatever you want to call it, and textures. Because it's like there's a color wheel, there's also a texture wheel.
I did not know about a texture wheel.
Well, I don't know if he's just made that up, but it makes sense. It's like, so if you've got something that's black, like a contrast wheel, if you like, something that's black is going to look better next to something that's white, and that's why tribal's like
Yeah.
the perfect thing, the spiky black tribal perfect thing to show like contrast and balance and flow, because it's exactly black with exactly skin color. So you've got that. Then you've got like the color wheel where like some of contrasting would be like, say, purple looks good next to yellow because it's opposite each other or whatever, or looks the most contrasted. But then if you imagine you've got like a really textured like thing in front of a really textured background, it kind of just blurs into nothing.
Yeah.
So if you've got like, that's why the biomech, I think, thing originally is. It's like it used to be, because some people do like a bio-organic kind of style. Some people do like a mech style where it's all like metal-y stuff. But the best one is where you've got like the bumpy textures of the bio stuff next to the mech textures, which would be like smooth metals and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's your like texture kind of contrast.
Right.
So if you've got something smooth with something bumpy in front of it, they stand out from each other, and it looks clearer. It's easier to read than it would be if it's just bumpy on bumpy or smooth on smooth.
I didn't even think of like a texture wheel, but it does make sense.
Well, it's like it's just a contrast, basically. Basic contrast carries through. But he, in that book, he's actually drew a texture wheel, like to show you what it would like kind of be like, which is quite interesting. I'll show you it. I'll put it up on here if I can find the book.
Yeah, because you've got like obviously red, blue, and yellow, but then you've got like what's the three textures? Like crispy, bumpy, and smooth.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to have a look at that. Really bumpy, not as bumpy, smooth.
Because it's like loads of
Spiky.
textures. Spiky, smooth, ribbed.
Undulated. Holy. Oh, what's it called? Tryptophobia or whatever it's called. That's horrible. Hate that. I'm not scared of it.
I think if you've got tryptophobia, I think you're lying and you've just made it up. That's my hot take. Because I see pictures of it like on the internet, and it'll be like a frog holding its back because that's where it keeps its babies or whatever. Or like is it like a lotus pod seed?
Oh yeah, they sometimes.
They've got the seeds in it, and everyone in the comments like, I can't see it. It's like off. It's not that bad.
Just look at it more.
Just look at it.
Look at it until you're not feeling like that.
You haven't got a phobia, right? Just.
Yeah, you've got an aversion to looking at something you don't like. No, them plug holes, no.
No, I have to do it. It's me OCD, it's the switch. I need to switch them off.
I have to because I get attention off people when I say I've got
it. You haven't got OCD, man.
You just like attention. Yeah?
That's my turn to run.
I know some people have OCD though.
I know, but like
they don't.
If you have OCD, it's like actually like life debilitating. Like you can't sleep at night because you think you're going to strangle yourself with like your dressing gown cord and stuff.
Yeah.
It's not like, I need me pencil to be straight.
So what we were talking about with that thing though, I forgot there was something I was going to say about Guy Aitchison book, flow. Oh yeah, so what I'd do with mushrooms around that thing, if you were going to do them, is I would try and match that style a bit.
Okay.
Rather than just doing like how you would draw mushrooms on there, it's not going to like look good.
Yeah.
It's just going to look like you added it afterwards. So I would try with that. The way to make that look the nicest would just be make it look like she did it. Like, so you draw them, put the same thickness of lines on them, but with the flow to make it like, as if it's filigree but mushrooms kind of thing.
Right.
Because mushrooms can bend at all kind of angles if you do like the long ends.
Do you think it would like the flow would focus on the forearm coming upwards in a kind of like that way, or would it come out of the focus of the piece?
I would do it with the arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, like do it with the body because it looks better. Like when you do it with the piece, it's like it might look cool on your Instagram photo, but it's on a person's body. So it's like you need to just, if it makes you get a shit Instagram photo, and just make it look good on the person.
Yeah.
But there's a kind of things ideally look better if they all face forwards and down kind of thing, and it's like, you flow with the shape of the muscles and stuff like that. You can draw basic shapes.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's like you kind of need to know a bit of, art, you kind of need to know anatomy anyway, but like you need to know like anatomy for the floor. You need to know what the muscles are.
It looks way better.
Yeah.
But then you've got anti-flow as well, which would be like when something like, say you've got like this whole thing what's flowing with your body and stuff. It might be going all the way out down an arm and maybe even onto the stomach or something like that. And then one thing that just juts straight through at the wrong angle. Like when you know what you're doing, you can put that thing at the anti-flow bit at the right thing to give yourself like almost like a flow contrast as well.
Right.
But if you don't know what you're doing, then it's like,
I imagine it's very easy to not know what you're doing.
Yeah, you might nail it by accident, but it's more likely you're going to put it in a weird place that just looks awkward.
Yeah.
But if you know what you're doing, you can ignore the rules once you know them, kind of thing. but then you can accurately break them rather than like just accidentally. And sometimes you're gonna nail it, sometimes you're gonna fail it.
It seems like a lot of the stuff is. I've seen another tattoo artist do it, so I'm just gonna put it in this piece.
I love that, like.
Even though I don't actually know why they've done
They're
it.
just like Instagram. Ooh, white lines around things, right? Okay, we're doing white lines around things. Hey guys, we're doing white lines around things. Oh, I can't even say it.
White lines.
White lines around things now for mad likes. Then it's like, okay, scroll. Circles. We're doing circles around things. Oh well, I guess. Because I noticed Jason started doing that like a few years ago now. It's like, so I was talking about this, like the Jason called this style New Romantic, I think. Was it called that? Or Death Romantic, sorry.
New Romantic's a
That's
music
like music,
genre,
yeah. Death Romantic. So it's like lasses with skulls, right? He invented lasses with skulls, apparently. So anyway, Death Romantic style will be like that kind of style. Like, it's very popular now, I guess, that kind of stuff. But Jason's is like different. It's kind of softer, and sometimes it blends. Sometimes it's a little bit abstract and this kind of thing. And it's like, I see people struggling to do this. Like there's someone I had working here before who was really struggling to do this, and it's like it always looks a bit like he has no clue what he's doing.
Right.
So I was like trying to explain to him, like, stop it. Stop adding the like stripe through the middle, or the, like these circles, or it's like you're doing a full portrait with a thing next to it, and you've got like a circle that's cut out, but it's as if like it's lighter. It's the same shapes as everything. You still got like a cheek blend coming through, but where the circle is, it's like as if it's opaque over the top of it. I'm trying to describe it, but it's hard to describe. Or you might have like an abstract like line through the middle where like all the shapes are still there, but it's like lighter underneath that line.
Okay.
As if you've like took a rubber and rubbed like 50% of the opacity off. Or something like that.
Right.
And it's like people are trying to do this kind of effects, these weird effects, because it looks cool when these people do it. But without knowing why or what they're doing. And so they struggle with it. And they don't get the blend between, say you're doing a perfect smooth cheek, and you've got this stripe through the middle where half it's lighter than the other half. Like, Jason's doing it, and it looks as if, like, on Photoshop, it's been, like, the opacity, like, dropped off that one bit, but the shapes are still perfect underneath.
Right.
Where sometimes people do it, and they just miss, and it looks weird, it looks wrong, kind of thing. I'm explaining this really bad, but what I was explaining to this guy who used to work here trying to do this stuff is you're copying someone at like level 100 when you're level 5.
Yeah.
It's like there's level 6. Do you know what I mean? It's like when Jason was level 6, he wasn't trying to do this. He was still trying to get a smooth cheek blend.
Yeah.
It's like at level 20, he's like, I'm bored of smooth cheek blends now. How can I make this harder? What if I kind of rubbed half of it out and still try to match it? Then he tries it and fails, and it's like, sweet, I've got a challenge now. And then he does that and eventually nails that, and then he's like, bored again now. What if I did a circle amongst it as well? That's going to make it harder again. So now he's got to like tattoo the bit, because on Photoshop you would just literally get a rubber at 50% and just go zit.
Yeah.
Then you get a circle and drop that over the top, and it just automatically does everything for you. But to then recreate that on skin, even if you recreate it on paint, you could get like a whitewash and whitewash it over it, and it would automatically do. You do it perfect first, whitewash over it, and it gets you your effect. So it would work on paint,
Right.
like quite easy. Easier on Photoshop, kind of easy on paint still, but on the skin, it's like you've got to leave that bit out. You don't get to do it perfect and then remove some.
Yeah.
You have to build it up to that point and then take the bits next to it to
Further.
do you know what I mean? It's like it's hard. So if you don't know why or what you're trying to do, it's like your chances of nailing it are like slim. But then they're trying to do this like level 100 thing when they're like, let's say level 5, and it's like you need to be able to get a smooth cheek blend first to be able to then split it to two different like what do you call it, saturations or whatever.
I think that is what's frustrating for people who are trying to do art. It's like,
like looking at, because you don't look at the shit people, do you?
No.
Like, I think this is a good thing though. You should look at the shit people.
Definitely.
Like, look at the people at your level. Like, what are they doing? Like, follow apprentices if you're an apprentice. Like, stop following all the world's best artists and just hating yourself every day because you can't do that yet.
And also save all your old art and look back on it.
Yeah.
That's really helpful.
So you're comparing yourself to yourself. I think it's good to look at these sometimes though. You look at the artists you're aiming for, but occasionally look back at the ones who like are at yours. or like around you at the same time. Just know exactly where you are. Be like, what's the word? Objective about where you are.
Well, that's because we talked about it before. Then you don't get disheartened from a.
You don't get disheartened by looking at the people who are amazing, and you don't get like what's the word? You don't get ahead of yourself by looking back at the people who are like you're better than.
But with compliments as well, and
yeah, because I know people who's like they're looking at all the people that they're better than, and they think they're mint because they're looking at like, and I'm like, look at this guy. No, that's not real. That's not possible to do that. Like for you, maybe. Was there another subject on there? I've still got my dog, by the way. She's just outside right now because she was going to... She's been good all morning. Then it's like as soon as we start this, she's like, I might whinge now. I'll bite this cable.
Some of the... I don't know. These maybe... Contracts are maybe a big topic. And cut versus rent.
Can't be arsed with them, like.
And also Hitler tattoos.
Hitler tattoos?
Well, it's just like, would you tattoo a swastika on someone if...
I don't think I would. I'm not interested in it.
Yeah.
It's like when people want like, what is this? Swastika tattoos. There's other things like this, isn't there?
Well, it's just offensive tattoos.
Or like say, well, even like, so I like the art. So it's like if someone wants me to come and like tattoo their eyelid black, I'm not going to do that either, even though it's not offensive.
Yeah.
I'm just not interested in doing like these shit things. If there was something that was funny, maybe I would, but I'm not going to be like, a Hitler tattoo. Like, even if you nail it, like, people are going to whinge about it, aren't they? There was a guy, I forgot his name now. What was his name? Was he Russian? Oh, I forgot his name. There was a guy, like, he was really popular. He's like when, Instagram started building and that, and it's like, he had loads of followers on there. And then it was just... Because his portraits were amazing, but he was consistently doing them kind of things. Like it's almost, I don't know if he just like once you've done two, it's people want them. Like you do a lion tattoo and you do it good, people are going to be like, that's the guy. If you want lions, that's the guy.
Yeah. But
this guy's doing Hitlers and like he's done multiple Hitler tattoos. He done some tattoo of like some like Jews with their hands behind the back and some guy with a gun behind the head and stuff like that, and it's like. It starts to look like he wants to do these tattoos.
Yeah.
Rather than like, people are just like, oh, the racist tattoos. This is the racist tattoo guy. You've got to go, oh, you want something racist? Yeah, sweet. This is the guy. I wish I remembered what his name was now. But whatever. Even if we even put like examples of it, we'll probably just get blocked anyway, don't we?
Yeah, you'll not be even able to show them.
I thought he had a dream with Hitler the other night, didn't I?
Oh, yeah, he did.
He seemed all right, honestly. In the dream, I'm not saying he was all right in real life. Doesn't really like Jews, though. Even in the dream, he wasn't into them. In the dream.
You subconsciously accurately portrayed Hitler.
Yeah. He had a different tash, though. So, like, we can't even say it's definitely him. He had, like, more of, like, a Mexican tash with, like, it was shaved, like, halfway down. But I still felt like it was him. He had the same shit haircut and that.
It's weird how in dreams where it's like, it doesn't look like them at all, but you know it's them.
It was definitely him, like.
Yeah.
And he was still alive. But he was also, like... young, so it's like it's probably not him in real life, is it?
Unless you went back in time.
I might have went back in time. I'm not mates with him, by the way. Even in the dream, like I don't agree with him. In
that sounds like something a time traveller who talks to Hitler regularly would say.
Doesn't it? I'm not going to do any jokes about that. Because,
yeah, let's move on.
There's jokes that would be fun to do.
Yeah,
but I'm not going to do them.
It's just a no.
I've got no hate in me. Oh, what did you think of the new intro? It's not the new intro. I just wanted to show me piano thing off. Because at this point, I'm going to have played that at the beginning. Should have probably mentioned it at the beginning, but I forgot.
Why didn't you play it at the end then as like a secret treat? Why
don't you play it at the end as a secret treat? With that, like, Kazaria, whatever it was called. That's not what it's called. Karazhan.
I wish I knew the full song.
Yeah.
Shout out to me World of Warcraft players.
What's up, fellow nerds?
Yeah.
Are we done?
Yeah, we're done.
Bye then. Oh, hang on, before I say bye then, even though I've just said it. One of my dad's mates even watches this and he's not like, even into tattoos.
Oh, really?
He just thinks we're funny.
Really?
Yeah, because you know why? We're bro.
That's nice. Hello, whoever you are.
Hello and bye.
Bye.